Y'all not gonna believe this. We got updates on Shanquella Robinson. Yes, I came across this video and I said, "Oh my God, my people gonna want to hear about this, and I want to see what's going on too." Did they get it arrested? We've been hearing this and that. Hopefully, they've been doing some good stuff in the background. I need you guys to comment. Let us know your thoughts about this. Let me play this video to see what's going on with Shanquella Robinson.
And I'm Ben Thompson. A lot to get to this morning, but we want to start off with new information we're getting in the Shanquella Robinson case. After WCNC Charlotte obtained more than 100 pages of documents from the FBI.
For nearly 4 years, the Cabo Six thought they had escaped the shadows of that luxury villa in Mexico. They thought the name changes, the moves to new states, and the silence of federal prosecutors had buried the truth forever. But as of May 2026, the ground has shifted. A major new legal update in North Carolina has blown this case wide open, bringing the fight for Shanquella Robinson back to her hometown of Charlotte. Today, we aren't just giving you the news. We are exposing the raw, verified details of the betrayal that led to that fatal morning. From the secret financial tension that turned a dream vacation into a hunt, to the moment-by-moment breakdown of the assault the group tried to hide, we are revealing what really happened behind those villa walls. The Cabo Six may have tried to reinvent themselves, but the truth is finally catching up. Before we dive into the new 2026 evidence and the disturbing events that led to Shanquella's final moments, hit that subscribe button. We are documenting every step of this new legal battle because the Robinson family's search for justice hasn't stopped, and neither have we. Join us as we demand justice for Quilla. The tragedy began on October 28, 2022. Shanquella Robinson was a 25-year-old force of nature from Charlotte. She built the house herself. Quella was a master of her craft. She was a successful entrepreneur who owned a clothing boutique and a children's hair useness. If you lived in Charlotte and you wanted your hair done right, you went to her. She was a professional hair braider. Think about that for a second. Braiding hair is an intimate act. It requires hours of sitting close. It requires patience. It requires a gentle touch. Quella spent her days leaning over the heads of women in her community. She listened to their stories. She laughed with them. She was a confidant. She was a sister to many. She didn't stop at hair. She was a boss in every sense of the word. She launched the Quella Collective. It was her clothing brand. It was her baby. She had an eye for fashion. She had an eye for beauty. She was a young Black woman turning her hustle into a legacy. Her parents, Salamandra and Bernard Robinson, watched her with immense pride. She was their youngest. She was the one who made sure everyone was okay. She was the kind of person who worked hard and shared her success with everyone around her. But there was a hidden tension before the plane even left the ground. Shanquella was not part of the original guest list for this trip to Cabo San Lucas. She was a last-minute addition. She was invited because other people had backed out. Khalil Cook, a man she had known for years and trusted deeply, was the one who reached out to her. There was a specific financial reason they wanted her there. Shanquella was generous. Reports show that even though she was a late addition, she ended up paying for the majority of the luxury villa. She was the one who made the trip possible for the others. She paid for the rooms. She paid for the private chef. To the group, Shanquella wasn't a best friend. She was a bank account. When they arrived at Villa Linda 32, Shanquella was happy. She posted videos on social media showing off the beautiful house. She was smiling. She was excited to be in Mexico. That Friday evening, she called her mother, Salamandra. She told her she was eating tacos and having a great time. It was a normal, loving conversation. But inside the villa, the atmosphere was already turning cold. The people Shanquella had just paid thousands of dollars for were turning against her. There was a jealousy brewing that would soon lead to violence. They had taken her money, they were eating the food she provided, and now they were preparing to betray her. Less than 24 hours later, the celebration turned into a nightmare. Shanquella was in a room in the villa when the assault began. A video that would later shock the world showed exactly what happened. Shanquella was naked and completely defenseless.
Look, can you at least fight back? At least something. At least fight back, something.
Deja Jackson began to rain down heavy blows on her. Shanquella did not fight back. She was confused and overwhelmed. The most haunting part of the video is the silence of the others. The Cabo Six did not step in. They did not pull the attacker away. Instead, they stood there with their phones out. They recorded her pain. They mocked her. While Shanquella's body was being broken, her friends were busy creating social media content. They watched a woman who had just funded their vacation be beaten into the ground, and they did absolutely nothing to save her. After the assault ended, Shanquella was left in a state of physical collapse. She was not moving. She was in extreme pain. This was the critical moment where a real friend would have called for help. But the group did not call 911. They did not rush her to a local hospital. Instead, they spent hours watching her deteriorate while they perfected a lie. Khalil Cook made a phone call to Shanquella's mother, Salamandra. He didn't sound panicked. He told her that Shanquella had alcohol poisoning. He said she was just sick from drinking too much. He told her mother not to worry because they were taking care of her. He was looking at a woman with a broken neck and telling her family she just needed to sleep. The timeline shows a terrifying gap in care. It wasn't until 2:13 p.m. on October 29th, 2022, that the group finally called for medical assistance. Even then, they didn't tell the truth. They told the villa staff she was dehydrated. Dr. Carolina Gutierrez arrived at the villa at 3:15 p.m. She immediately saw through the lie. Shanquella was in a life-threatening state. Her heart rate was unstable, and she was non-responsive. The doctor told the group repeatedly that Shanquella needed to go to a hospital right then. She explained that this was a medical emergency. The group refused. They stood in the doctor's way. They claimed they didn't have the cash for a hospital bill. They said Shanquella had been like this before. They ignored the doctor's pleas even when she offered to take Shanquella to a free public clinic. They were more afraid of the truth coming out at a hospital than they were of their friend dying in front of them. While the doctor was trying to save her life, Shanquella suffered a massive seizure. It was so violent that the IV the doctor had just inserted was ripped out of her arm. In that moment of pure terror, the Cabo Six did not step up. According to the doctor's official statement, the friends panicked and fled the room. They ran away, leaving the doctor alone with Shanquella as her body gave up. Dr. Gutierrez had to scream for them to come back and call for an ambulance. When the paramedics finally arrived, it was too late. Shanquella had no pulse. They tried to revive her for nearly an hour, but she was gone. At 5:57 p.m., Shanquella Robinson was pronounced dead. The group's reaction to her death was the final act of abandonment. They didn't stay to talk to police. They didn't wait for her parents. They packed their bags, went to a hotel near the airport, and flew back to the United States. They left Shanquella's body behind in Mexico and returned to Charlotte to tell her parents more lies. They were already home before the Robinson family even knew the alcohol poisoning story was a cover-up for a killing. The Cabo Six arrived back in Charlotte, while Shanquella was still in a morgue thousands of miles away. They did not go to the authorities to report a tragedy. Instead, they went directly to the Robinson family home. They walked into the living room and sat on the very sofa where Shanquella used to sit. Khalil Cook and Deja Jackson looked Salamandra Robinson in the eye. They repeated the lie. They told her that Shanquella had simply drunk too much and passed away from alcohol poisoning. They acted like they were grieving. They even shed tears. Salamandra, still in shock, welcomed them. She thanked them for being there for her daughter. But as the hours passed, their behavior became deeply disturbing. While Shanquella's parents were paralyzed by grief, the group was focused on the upcoming funeral. In a detail that Bernard Robinson will never forget, the friends sat in his house and began discussing what outfits they were going to wear to the service. They debated over dress colors and styles. They were planning their fashion for a funeral they had caused. Bernard Robinson watched them closely. He noticed that Khalil Cook was not acting like a man who had lost a sister. He was too calm. He was too controlled. Bernard later said that when he started asking specific questions about the timeline in Mexico, Khalil began to sweat. He was sweating so heavily that it soaked through his shirt. It was the sweat of a man who knew a video was about to surface. The wall of silence finally broke because the group couldn't keep their lies straight. One friend said Shanquella was found in the shower. Another said she was found in bed. A third said a maid discovered her. These contradictions pushed the family to dig deeper. Then the video leaked. The world saw the truth. There was no alcohol poisoning. There was only violence. The people who were sitting in the Robinson living room, picking out funeral dresses, were the same people seen on camera mocking a naked and dying Shanquella. The deception was over, and the fight for justice had just begun. As the video of the attack spread across the internet, a medical battle began that would determine the entire future of the case. The Cabo Six had bet everything on the alcohol poisoning lie, but they couldn't control the official documents coming out of Mexico. On November 5th, 2022, the Mexican authorities released Shanquella's death certificate. It was a total contradiction of everything the group had said. There was no mention of alcohol. The cause of death was officially listed as severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation.
This was performed the day after Shanquella was killed. It shows Shanquella died from atlas and medullary dislocation. In simple terms, that's a broken neck and a severe spinal cord injury.
This means her neck was broken at the very top, where the skull meets the spine. The report stated she died within 15 minutes of the injury. This evidence was a nightmare for the group. It proved that Shanquella's death was instantaneous and violent. Based on this, Mexican prosecutors issued an arrest warrant for one of the friends for femicide.
Mexican authorities have ruled her death a femicide, or murder,
A specific crime in Mexico for the targeted killing of a woman. They classified the case as a direct, unprovoked assault. However, when Shanquella's body returned to North Carolina, the legal path became complicated. The FBI took over and performed a second autopsy in the United States. Because weeks had passed and the body had been embalmed for transport, the U.S. medical examiners struggled to see the same clear evidence the Mexican doctors had seen immediately after her death. In April 2023, the U.S. Department of Justice released a statement that devastated the Robinson family. They announced that the U.S. autopsy results were undetermined. Because of this, they claimed there was not enough evidence to prove a federal crime beyond a reasonable doubt. They refused to file criminal charges or extradite anyone to Mexico. This created a massive divide. On one side, you have a Mexican autopsy and a video showing a brutal beating. On the other side, the U.S. government is saying they can't prove what caused the death. The family pointed out that an independent review of the medical records showed a brain hemorrhage, which is a sign of blunt force trauma, not drinking. Bernard Robinson was outraged. He could not understand how a video of his daughter being beaten, combined with a broken neck, was not enough to make an arrest.
It just hurt to the core that these 6 individuals out here came back to the United States soil, walking around here like they ain't did nothing. No one in this world who got kids and daughters will want this done to their child and have to deal with this not knowing what happened and why it happened.
The family felt that the undetermined label was being used as a shield for the group. This medical conflict is what has kept the Cabo Six free for years. But the family is now using these same records in civil court to prove that the alcohol poisoning story was a coordinated lie designed to cover up a killing. While the criminal case in the United States hit a wall, the members of the Cabo Six began trying to disappear. They knew that as long as they were associated with Shanquella's name, they would be outcasts. They decided to stop running from the law and start running from their own identities. In a move that deeply hurt the Robinson family, Deja Jackson, the woman seen in the video delivering the blows, decided to start over. She legally changed her name to Amani Green. She moved out of North Carolina and tried to build a new life where no one knew her past. To the public, it looked like a calculated attempt to hide from the femicide warrant still active in Mexico. While Shanquella's name was being honored by thousands of strangers, the person caught on camera was trying to erase her own history. But the silence didn't last. As of May 2026, the ground has shifted. Because the federal government refused to act, the family took the fight into their own hands. They filed a massive wrongful death lawsuit.
No one has been arrested. The people who knew what happened to my daughter are living their lives. They have returned to work, and my family is left to wait.
In January 2026, a major legal update occurred when the case was officially moved to the Mecklenburg County Superior Court. This is a huge win for justice. It means the case is no longer stuck in federal limbo. It is now in a local courtroom in Charlotte, just miles from where Shanquella lived. This lawsuit isn't just about money. It is about forcing the Cabo Six to sit under oath and answer the questions they have been avoiding for years. They will finally have to explain the lies they told in that living room. They will have to explain why they watched her die and then discussed their funeral outfits. The international stalemate remains haunting. Mexico still wants the suspect extradited. They have the video, they have the broken neck on the death certificate, they are ready to go to trial, but the US government continues to protect its citizens from being sent to a Mexican prison. This has left Shanquella's family in a painful tug of war between two countries. Bernard Robinson has not moved an inch. He still carries the same fire he had the day he saw that video.
Justice will be served. Justice will be served. It's going to be served. It's going to be served.
And so what does that justice look like?
This just going to look like they're going to get what they deserve to get to them. You just don't take a life. They brutally beat her. She didn't agree to fight whatsoever. She did not agree. That's not her. You know, she did not agree to fight.
He has promised that as long as he has breath, the world will remember what happened to his baby girl. He is not just fighting for a court verdict. He is fighting to make sure that no matter what name they use, the Cabo Six can never outrun the truth. Rest in peace, Shanquella. Your light will never be forgotten. Now that the case is officially in a Charlotte courtroom this year, do you believe the Cabo Six will finally be forced to tell the truth? Or will they keep hiding behind legal technicalities? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.